those are big surgeries. They're tough to come back from, and you never know how they're going to react. And we always know it's a possibility to take a long time, and it's taken a long time.
Burford's wrap looked pretty substantial. Did he have surgery?
No, he hasn't had surgery yet. He's still got one more doctor to talk to today. I'll have an answer for you guys next time I speak with you guys.
You had a lot of your top offensive guys not practicing. This is the team stuff, but just from our view, it looked like the defense really was all over. Did you feel like defense had the edge today?
Yeah, I would say so. Especially down there in the red zone where it's tighter, the tighter coverages and stuff. They definitely did. First day of pads, I thought it helped with our protections and stuff a little bit. Definitely thought the offense got the better half in the run period at the beginning. But the way the rest of practice went, I'd say it was obvious for the D.
You said the first day of pads, when you have that here and obviously the intensity, energy, and everything that comes with that, did you see more explosiveness from them today or more energy or, what did that bring?
I mean, I think there's always a different element when pads go on. I think there's a little more butterflies for guys and stuff like that. But you try to make it the same stuff that we've done the last 4 days. You can thud running backs up, which is nicer. You don't just have to tag them off. But there were more thuds. You heard the pads a little bit more. But, we show a lot of clips before we get out to practice to make sure that not anyone's going out there and just acting like it's game day because we got pads on. So we practice pretty hard without them. We'd like to nothing to change, but it feels a little bit safer having those on today.
Pearsall just to kind of ease him in and then get him in team drills tomorrow?
Yeah, we're hoping. We wanted him to go today, see how he responds tonight and tomorrow morning when he comes in. If that's good, he should be in practice tomorrow.
What do you see from Trent Taylor? It seems like he's pretty involved in the returns, and then he was also with the ones today on offense.
Yeah, Trent is. Love having Trent back here. Trent can help out anywhere. Trent's such a good football player. The moment's never too big for him. He knows the offense well. He can hop in at all three spots. Competes his ass off in everything he does, and he's very valuable as a returner too. So, especially having a lot of guys in and out, it's good to have some versatility there with Trent.
Are you bring him back as a returner at first, or just all around?
No, I mean, you always want a group of receivers in camp, and you're going to get a few in the draft, possibly a free agency after the draft. You got the guys that you already have on the roster, and you want to add harder competition. And I always love getting some veterans in here who know how to play, who the game's not too big for, that hopefully can add competition and possibly make your team or make guys better who have to be very good to beat out some guys like that. And you always like guys like that as possible practice squad players too, because, when they have experience and something happens on a Friday or Saturday, the game's never too big for them. You can get them up, and they don't blink.
Two had a nice chunk play today, and I guess to get him out there, and after last year we hit the drops, and then he got hurt, and it was kind of almost like a lost year for him.
Yeah, no, I know that was frustrating for him. I mean, to go through camp, a lot of times you go through camp and you got to get worse before you get better, but it's tough when you have a big injury like he did. He's been working his butt off to get back, and I know he did that throughout OTAs, and for him to, get his fifth practice in a day and to finally make it to get the pads on, to get some catches too, I was happy for him, and hopefully he'll continue.
What do you expect the timeline to be for Cowing and Guerrero?
I think theirs were grade ones, I think. So, Isaac was worse. That's going to be a few weeks. Jake is in a similar boat as Tay. I think it was like a 10-day guess whenever that started. So hopefully sometime next week.
Kyle, after watching the kickoff returns, seeing a number of reps, do you feel like you have a good idea of what traits you like in your return guys? Do you want bigger guys, smaller guys?
Not totally. You want the best guy. They come in all shapes and sizes, but you want the fastest, quickest, biggest guy possible. But they usually don't make it exactly like that. So you also want some smart guys too, and just how they can, not necessarily smart, but how they track the ball. It's going to be different. We don't know what type of balls are coming back there. And you almost need like a shortstop too, because the quicker you can pick those balls up and judge it right, the more you can get in track with the blockers and in line with them, which is going to happen real fast. So there's so many variables that are going into it. So we're just trying to learn by watching it and thinking about it, but we're not truly going to learn until we get some experience at it.
Coach, last week Brock said he noticed the intensity and the pep and the step. Obviously, the veterans, based on where you guys have been, how close you've been to the Super Bowl, do you notice a different intensity this time in training camp and a look in the guys' eyes that they're hungry to get back and then get ultimately over the top?
No different than last year. I don't think you can have that look much more than we have had. So I think guys, that's always on their mind, especially with our history and stuff. But you also want to, you like that on guys' mind, but you also want it off their mind. I mean, it's about getting better each day. I mean, everyone knows our goal and what we expect, but you can't think totally how it ends. You got to start with where it begins, and you got to get better each day all the way to the end, and you got to play your best on the last day of the season, whatever that is. So that's what we're focusing on now.
Is there a benefit at all with Ayuk watching on the sideline versus not being here? Like, what do you hope that he gets out of it, at least by being here physically, even though he's not participating?
Oh, I think it's good when any of these guys have the business part of the contracts going on and everything. I think it's always good to not get too far away from football. At least he can be with his teammates, hear meetings, get some work with the strength and conditioning coaches, things like that. And so hopefully when things work out, it just makes a little bit of a smoother transition.
It seemed like the last 2 years, Elijah Mitchell was a pretty clear-cut number 2 tailback. Has that started to blur at all with Jordan Mason playing like he has?
I'd say nothing against Elijah. There's been no fall-off in Elijah at all, but JP runs at a very high level. I see both of those guys that if Christian's not in there, not going, we always expect, no matter who we've had in the past, that number 2, number 3, sometimes our 4th guy comes in, and if their number's called, we expect them to run like a starting back. Just how many reps do they get at it, how long do they last, and things like that. And JP wasn't there right away, but he got there pretty quick. And he did a hell of a job for us last year, and we'll see how camp plays out. But I love both of those guys and got some depth behind them, too.
He was really specific when Branch asked him, like, did he look back on the Super Bowl and have any regrets or plays he looks at? A couple of third down passes, obviously the one at the end, another one later in regulation. Have you gone over with him that specifically, like play-by-play? Are those the 2 plays you would circle to?
Yeah, that's one of the hardest things, I take like a month off of it before I can handle it, but then I get a couple month head start before those guys do. And by the time they've gone here, I've seen it 1,000 times, not just in game order, but cut-ups, things like that. And so they get here, and it's sometime in phase 1 where you're going through cut-ups and stuff, and then it's, hey, there's only one game that we haven't reviewed from last year because the season ended after it, and we always review games together. So we took a time where I reviewed it all with him and the other quarterbacks who were in the meeting room, the other coaches, and it's always hard to watch that stuff because so many emotions are attached to it. But after you do and you start to assess it and look at things, you put it in perspective and find a way to get better from it.
Coach, talking about hungry, we know it's Nick Bosa's day off, but we saw him as a rookies coach now. What do you think about that, and how is him that important to the team?
Nick? Nick's the man. I like when he has days off. It makes it a little more efficient for offense. We can get some more work in. But Nick's also, he's got to stay in his routine so he can keep being Nick and continuing to take it to another level. But he handled everything the right way. I think it was hard on him just missing all of camp last year. And, Nick's he thinks about everything, every rep, everything he does. And so do we, and we got a good plan for him. And he's got a lot of work in so far, a lot more than last year at this time. And we believe that'll continue.
Kyle, are there any other defensive ends that are going to keep an eye on to see just how the depth is?
Yeah, all of them.
It's not a concern for you just where the depth is, because like we talked, Drake's not going to be able to participate, so does that put extra focus on those guys' reps?
We knew that coming in with Drake, and we've also, bringing in Tour and bringing him Leonard. We've addressed that, and especially with some of the guys that we lost. So we feel good about what we came in with our D-line, and 5 practices in, feel just as good, if not better.
Today, beginning the 2nd week of training camp, so far, has there been anything or any player in particular that has surprised you or impressed you in a way that you're like, wow, okay, they have that?
No. A lot of guys have impressed me, but it's also so early in camp, and I don't try to get too high or low on anybody. We're not through our install yet. Today was our first day of pads, so some guys will look real good one day and tail off a little bit the next day, but we got to get a little bit more into it before, especially with the pads on, before guys start separating themselves.
Brendan Allen's had a pretty good head start on Dobbs in terms of the system. How do you see that playing out? It's determining which one's going to be number 2.
Just them continuing to get equal reps, and usually it plays itself out. You like it for one of them not to make it to, they make the decision. usually we all can see it, and it eventually takes care of itself. And the players know, the coaches know, and it's not a tough decision. If it is a real tough decision, hopefully that's a good problem because they're both playing so well that they eventually got to make a decision. But feel pretty confident one of them will separate themselves as it goes. All right, thanks, guys.
All right.
You feel like a legit veteran these days? I mean, you've been around a while. I mean, is it much different when you look back at your rookie year?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I have a great feel for our offense and, the flow of training camp into the season and how important these days are and how limited they are, coming from college where you get a month of real training camp. You only get 2 weeks here, so got a good feel for it.
Right now, first day of pads, how's he looking out there?
First day of pads, I'll watch it when we see it. We just came off the field, but no, I think, there's obviously an adjustment coming from college, especially to the NFL, but this offense, it's very particular in what we do. But I think he's picking it up well and excited to see where he goes with it.
Wise, is there a notable difference from, first block of practices to putting on the pads today, just as the team in general?
Oh, yeah, guys are excited. You get to play real football. You get to thud up, you get to use your pads, helmet, and honestly just get physical. So, yeah, guys are pretty excited for that.
Aaron, does Chris take a different approach to the season when you have so many rookies? You guys have like 4 or 5 rookies in your room.
No. I mean, Tifo is going to try and bring the young guys along, and, of course that's going to be a focus, but, he's got other guys he has to coach too, so I think he does a good job of balancing, bringing the rookies along, bringing the new guys along, but still coaching the guys that have been here and just helping guys get better and get more acclimated to the offense.
Berger said the other day that the mistake that Spencer made in the Super Bowl was very tough on Spencer. Do you guys, I mean, do you talk to him about that, and what kind of sort of advice or relief can you give a guy after something like that happens?
Sore subject. Yeah, I'm gonna pass on that one.
And Brett has called Juwan Jennings one of the best players he's ever played with. Obviously, Niners are loaded with a lot of good players. Most people don't immediately think of Juwan Jennings, but obviously he has a lot of respect, not just respect for his team. Where does that come from? That level of,
Man, Juwan, it's a mentality thing and just the tenacity that he brings to the game. Like, he'll go block anybody. He'll go, go against anybody. He'll run any route. He'll catch balls in traffic, get hit. Like, doesn't matter. Juwan's just like he just doesn't really, I don't want to say doesn't care about his body, but like, he will go and throw his body into anything, and it's just the energy and type of mentality that we love.
Everybody assumes that Trent will be back here at some point during camp or before the season starts. A player of that caliber, how much practice does a guy like that really need?
I mean, Trent's a guy that, when he shows up, he's going to be Trent Williams, and he's going to be at the top of his game. It's not like there's no chance that he's wherever he is, like, not working to be ready. So when he shows up, he'll be ready. I'm not worried about that.
Against Eric Armstead in camp for the last few years. What's it like with this new crew? I mean, do you kind of feel out Malik Collins and Jordan Elliott, those types of guys?
Yeah, those dudes are good. I think it's a good combination. You get Grave, you get Malik, you get Jordan Elliott, you get Givens. I think it's a good combination of guys in the middle that can get the job done at a high level. You swap them in one for the next, and I think they're all strong. They all play with good fundamentals, good hands, good pad rush. So I was excited to see how it pans out for them.
First day of pads, but Javon Hargrave talked about how much he's better this season than he was last year, just trying to get adjusted to the scheme. Have you seen that, a difference in his play?
Oh, yeah. Hargrave's the real deal. Like, personally, I get pretty much every rep with Hargrave, so getting to go against him has made me better. But seeing where he was from last year to this year, like, I think he's quicker. I think he's honestly probably stronger. Like, I think he's taking a step in his game for sure.
With an offense this, comprehensive, explosive, and a playbook as, elaborate as it is, how important is that camaraderie and chemistry with each other there on the line, and how much do you guys kind of use that and lean on that in, these big game situations?
You're talking from an O-line standpoint? I mean, I'm a firm believer that you're only as good as the guy next to you. You're only as strong as your weakest link. And so for everybody to be comprehensive and play together as one. When I was in college, they talked about 5 fingers versus 1 fist. 1 fist is a lot stronger. So everybody being together is going to play out a lot better.
Understanding it's a business side and BA is dealing with what he has off the field, how important and how much do you appreciate his teammate that he's here holding in and with the team meetings and kind of just around the team to be here for camp?
Man, I love BA. Love playing with him. You know, however it plays out for him, you know, he's going to be in a good situation. He's going to get what he deserves. But, you know, if he's not here, we're definitely going to miss him. It sucks if he's not here.
Aaron, you're going to be in a contract situation after this season. Does that make the season from a mental standpoint any different? Is there any more pressure?
No, I like to take it day by day. I just want to stay in the moment, you know, go to each practice, focus on each practice. When the games come, just focus on each game. And I think, you know, as long as I just keep doing that, when it comes to that time, it'll play out how it's supposed to. If I get ahead of myself and start thinking about that stuff, it's not something that I want to do.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
spoke to Aaron Banks just a little while ago, and he was asked about Javon Hargrave and how he's looked. What's been your impression lining up next to the guy?
Man, I got it out in the study for a long time. We came out together. We trained a little bit in the offseason together. I'm just excited to be here and learn from him.
How does he compliment you?
I mean, I think we're gonna complement each other well. I think his game, the ability to win at the speed that he wins at on a fast pace, through the A gap, through the B gap, I think it's something I can learn from as far as speeding up my rushes. I've been close a lot as far as like pressures and things like that. I'm learning from him how to speed up my rush and get vertical now.
Malik, how are you a different player than the player that came out of Nebraska?
It's a long time ago. More seasoned. I've done played a lot of snaps since then. Just learning my body, knowing what I'm good at and what I'm not as great at.
What's the vibe of the defensive line room?
It's a fun vibe, man. We mesh well. We have a lot of fun together. Play spades at lunch, things like that. I think it's a good vibe so far.
How are you enjoying Chris Kasarik? I know he's kind of a different kind
Chris, man. That's somebody I've been waiting to play for since I came out. I thought I was gonna go to Detroit when I first came out and play for him. We had a good draft meeting, but it's somebody I've been eager to learn from. I mean, he's on it. He's on it. So just learning from him has been great.
You've only been here a short time. What are the things that you've learned from him?
Like the things I started out with, talking about like speeding up my rush, how to finish a rush, so there's not a pressure. It can turn into a sack, things like that.
How much crossover is there between what the 49ers are asking you to do and what you did with Houston, given the fact that Nico's staff was here before?
It's been like the exact same verbiage and everything, so there's a lot of crossover.
Eric Armstead's the guy that built up a pretty big reputation here for a long time. Do you see yourself as stepping in for him, or are you just part of a defensive tackle group? And what did you know about Eric? Is your guy that you've met over the years?
I know that's big shoes to fill. I see what he meant to this organization, what he meant to this community, being from SAC. Somebody I have a lot of respect for. I'm just here to be the best version of myself. For sure.
In what way was it fun to kind of get out there and play what we call real football?
Just been a while since I put on pads. In January, so it's been about 7 months since. Well, I don't know how many months it's been. Been a while, so I'm excited to get back out there and bang. That's the way we.
I guess learned about Chris Kasarik before you worked with them. How does that? Is there a difference between what you knew then versus what you know from him now, just in the short time that you've been here?
I mean, I've been close with some players that played for him in the past. So, Kerry Hodder, somebody that played for him in the past. He came over to Houston last year, and he basically told me exactly how it was. And then Javon as well. Just seeing those two guys and what they say about Chris, and it come into meetings and it's the exact same. The intensity, the attention to detail, and it's something I'm thrilled to see how this year goes with it.
Kasarik in the offseason, he had said that Rod Marinelli had given you a thumbs up in terms of, hey, this is a guy you might want to consider here.
Mm-hmm.
What's your relationship with Marinelli? And I know you think with Dallas and I guess with the Raiders.
Yeah.
The Raiders thing, you only played like 10 games, I think, but did you have a good experience with
For
him
sure.
there?
I was with Marinelli for 5 years. So that, and then going with, I was with Lovie Smith for a couple years under his same type of system. Great dude. Somebody I learned from, still talk to this day. Got tons of respect for him and the man that he is.
Malik, what would you say is the strength of your game, and is there a part of your game that you still feel like you need to work on?
Movement is probably my favorite strength of my game. Movement, quickness, violence, being physical. Something I really want to work on is just winning faster. I mean, with these guys, the guys that we got here, it's going to be a race to the quarterback anyway. I don't want to be a step behind doing something extra. I got to win now, so.
Thanks, Malik.
Yeah.
Thank you.